Hi guys, welcome once again to another one of Seth's Java tutorials. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about control structures. That's conditional statements and loops and yeah, those kind of things. So without further ado, let's just like get right into it. So we'll just create our class. Um, yeah, let's call it what? Java controls. I don't know. Sorry about that. Got to clear my throat. Um, yeah, Java control. I guess we can do that. Let's just clear this up. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, you can keep it for the most part. It really doesn't change anything since it's a comment. So your compiler basically ignores some of those statements. Um, yeah. So what we'll start off with is the if-else statement. That's one of our conditional statements in Java. So basically, the if-else statement, as the name just suggests, yeah, it's just branching off. It's making a decision and then deciding which statement to implement. So maybe we could just actually start off with an example. Right. Let's suppose we've got a company, and then yeah, they want to decide whether to recruit someone or not. So basically, what they'll need to make a decision based on some condition. So let's suppose the person should know like what, three things. Yeah. So okay, let's actually start off, and then if we're designing like a program that does something like that. Um, oops. Yeah. So let's start off by importing. We need to get some input. So let's start off by importing um, our scanner class. Yeah, I like to use like the scanner class for getting input. Scanner in. Here we just create a scanner object. We're instantiating our scanner class by creating this scanner object. New scanner. You should by now have gotten the hang of this since we did it in the last tutorial. But if not, let's just keep doing it. System.in. Yeah, that's about that. So basically now we're kind of ready to get our input. So probably we could say let's get an integer variable for pay, right? Because remember we want to like recruit someone, and then we could start off by prompting the user, and then we could ask them, hey, look, system.out.println. Yeah, and then we could ask them, hey, user, how many things do you know? How many things do you know? Yeah, I figured, if we like do examples and stuff, we would probably make all this stuff so much more easier to understand. And then we'll create a variable, right, that we'll call person knowledge, I guess, in this case. You could probably like call it whatever you want to, but for the sake of this example, we'll just use person knowledge. Then we'll call it in dot next int since we're getting an integer. Yeah, so basically now this person, we know how many things they know because we've like entered the information, and then we've put it in this variable that's person knowledge, which is of the integer data type. And then now we can move on to our if else statement. So if, right, let's suppose we want a person that knows exactly three things. So if person knowledge, okay, let me just yeah, let me just get this. Yeah, so if person knowledge is equal to 3, right? This is here is a comparison operator. So basically, yeah, it performs the general equals that we all know, um, as compared to this one, which is an assignment operator. Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, assignment operator. So if, let's just suppose, if person knows 3, then we'll give them like a salary of what, $100 for the most part. Yeah. But let's suppose we want to create another condition where we say, okay, if the person knows more than 3 things, then we'll pay them, yeah, I don't know, like $500. So we could actually put that condition, and then we'll say else if, right? Let me just like copy this part here for the most part. Else if, right, person, else if our person knows greater than 3, right? Their pay can be like, a lot greater. So, we don't really care how many things you know. As long as you know more than 3 things, we give you like $500. Yeah. And then, of course, in the real world, you don't actually want to have a situation like that. But, for the purpose of this exercise, or else maybe we can say, look, if they know anything less, this becomes like the default condition, where we would probably say, pay is assigned 0. All right. So, if they, if they know anything less than 3, then, we don't pay them. So it's like, yeah, you guys, you can do the job, but, we're not really going to pay you. So yeah, that's how this will work. So maybe we can actually just run this, and then we just check out what exactly it'll do and how it'll work. Right. Okay. So then you ask me, how many things do you know? And then I say, okay, I know 2. And then, yeah, my pay is equal to 0. But remember, we didn't tell it to actually display that. So we would have to tell it to display system.out.println pay. Okay. Okay, we'll have to put a dot here. Okay, right. So let's do that again, shall we? Right. How many things do you know? Okay. I know 2 things. And then they tell me, hey, my pay is 0. And then, probably if we just like run that, and then because we want to check what my pay is, how many things do you know? I know like 78 things. And they tell me, hey, my pay is 500. So basically that's what it's been doing. It asked me how many things I knew here, and then it started checking what our condition was like, since I've inserted whatever value I've put right here, which is then received using the in object of the scanner class. And then, yeah, it then checks the condition, and then it says, no, is it 3? No, since I put like 78. Is it greater than 3? Yes. And then, yeah, checks out, hey, look, my pay is 500. And then this is where it's printed out. Okay. I think we've got an understanding there. So next up, let's move to another control structure, which is the case switch. Right. So, you can kind of use the case switch and the if else interchangeably, but, the case switch, well, for me, I feel like sometimes it's a little neater, and yeah, it basically Oh, no. Sorry. We actually want to put it right here. Okay. Yeah, so it's always good to like label your block of statements. Alright, so this is where our end of main method and this is the end of class. Yeah, you probably want to like do that when you start off. It just makes your coding so much easier. You just don't have to make like all these random errors. Okay, so we move on to the case switch, right? So let's just start off by probably just, yeah, let's just comment this out, so that for the most part we can just start on a clean slate. Right. Okay, so we'll still keep our scanner object, which is in, and then yeah, we'll just head right into it. So basically, we could actually start off as well by asking our person, right? Case switch works especially if you have like a fixed number of I don't know, conditions or cases or specific variables and stuff. So basically, right, I hope you can see that clearly. Right, so like for example, maybe in this case we're saying, okay, if our person knows exactly 3 things, yeah, their pay should be 100. If they know exactly 4 things, their pay should be 500. But if they know anything less or anything more, we don't pay them, right? So, case switch would work so perfectly in this case. So we'll start off by telling it, look, let's switch over to person knowledge, right? Let me just copy and paste that. So let's switch over to person knowledge. So remember, person knowledge is an integer. This is our switch block. Yeah, we've learned our lesson. We will not repeat that mistake again. Okay, so we'll move over to our switch person knowledge, and then we tell it, hey, look, focus, or let's switch to person knowledge. And then now that we're focusing, or we've switched over to person knowledge, and then we can start calling like different cases where in this case we want to look at case 3, right? Which means if we've got the value 3 in person knowledge, we need to put a full column. If we have 3 in person knowledge, that's person knows exactly 3 things. Their pay should be 100, right? And then after we do that, we can break out of the loop because we've kind of we're done with, or at least we know what we wanted. If we have the case where we have 4, right? Then our pay should be assigned to 500, right? And then we should always break out of the loop as soon as we're done with that, so that it doesn't have to keep iterating through all the other statements and stuff. And then okay, so and then if we get anything else, right, we basically tell it that the default the pay should be 0, because that's what we want as an organization. So if you've got a problem with that, then go somewhere else. Okay, so yeah, we may have noticed that we've got these errors right here. Pay has not been defined. Why? Because we like commented it out, back here. So we can probably just uncomment pay. Yeah, so that we just remove those errors. Okay, so yeah, basically this is how case switch works. And then after that, we'll probably just want to like print it out. We just tell it to print out our pay. Yeah, so let's just try it out and take a look at what our results will look like. Okay, so here's the grand question: how many things do you know? Since here I talk about 3, let me tell it I know 3 things, and then there we go. My pay is 100. Yeah, maybe we can try it again. Put some value that is not in the list, like 23, and then it tells me, hey, your pay is 0. So that's exactly how it works. It just basically it gets our value and stores it into person knowledge, and then we switch to person knowledge, and then we check our cases. That if in the case that we've got 3, the pay is 100. Case that, yeah, etc. for the most part. And then now we can move to the next control structure. Let me just get some space over here. Yeah. And our next control structure, we start looking at loops. So let's just take a look at our while loop, right? While loop. Okay, so let me just like comment this out. So that we just like start off on a clean slate. Right. So basically what our while loop does is that it checks for a condition, and it keeps repeating a certain block of statements until the condition has been altered, or it's no longer being met. So I guess to really explain that, let's just move straight into an example, right? So for example, we say let's create an employee variable of the integer data type. All right, let's just set that to 0, and then we'll still keep our person knowledge variable, and then so let's just assign person knowledge to some value like 3. And then so what we'll do is that we're going to put a condition where we're going to say while person knowledge is greater than or equal to 3. Right, we wanted to execute some statement. So in this case, let's just say it should just keep printing out how many things do you know. Let me just copy that. How many things do you know? And then okay, so what's our error here? We commented that out. Fine, let's just like declare it here. Okay, so it's gonna keep asking how many things do you know, as long as it just realizes that person knowledge is greater than or equal to 3. So in order for us to actually start this loop, we have to create the initial condition that will satisfy the condition in this loop, so that it can actually start running. Because if it just checks out that person knowledge has got probably anything less than 3, it's not actually going to go through this loop. So we have initialized our condition, and then we put 3. so that we can actually start in the loop here. And then, as soon as probably we see that person knowledge is like greater than 3, maybe we could actually do something like, yeah, we add 1 to employee. There are many ways of doing this. We could say employee plus equals 1, which is basically the same as saying employee is equal to employee. Sorry, employee plus 1. Yeah, I guess we'll probably just do this so that you can like really understand what's going on. So employee starts at 0. So as long as we keep satisfying this condition, it's going to keep asking, and then it's going to keep adding employees. And then, maybe after the whole loop, we could just check what value we've got in employee, or like how many employees we probably recruited. System.out.println. Then that's where we will check what value we've got in employee. Yeah. So, basically we could just like run that and then just take a look at how that works. Right? How many things do you know? I don't know. I know 4. Yeah. How many things do you know? Like 6? How many things do you know? Like 5. So we could keep going on and on and on, until the time where we've got less than 3. And then it breaks out. And then it tells us how many employees we've got. So we actually managed to get 7 employees that knew, anything that was greater than 3. So, that's how the while loop works. But you need to first put the initial condition and make sure that, that condition is satisfied before we can actually get into the while loop. Next up, we'll just move right into the do while loop. The do while loop is actually very similar to the while loop. But the major difference is that the do while loop actually implements the statement before, let's just comment this out. The do while loop actually implements the statement first and then goes on to check the condition. So basically you'd have a situation like do, and then you like tell it to do something. We could actually tell it to just go through this block here. Yeah, so it doesn't even need to get the condition satisfied first. Okay, we would need to just, yeah, so we don't even need to have the initial condition here. So basically what it'll do is that, what's our error here? Oh, okay, we haven't finished. Thank you so much for that, but we're not yet done. Okay, and then, so it's like, how many things do you know? And then it actually runs that, and then that's when we can give the condition that while person knowledge is greater than or equal to 3. So it basically still works the same way. It's just that this time it actually implements the statement first, and then after implementing the statement, it then goes on to check the condition. So, if we run that, we'll probably still see the same thing. The major difference is just in the code. How many things do you know? 4. How many things do you know? Like 5. How many things do you know? Like 3. How many things? 2. Okay, we didn't tell it to print. So I mean, it all depends what you want to use your code for. But you know, if we're doing it for like illustrative purposes, we'd still need it to print. So like, how many things do you know? 3, how many things? 4, how many things? 5, how many things? 2. Here we go. We've got 4 employees that knew anything more than from 3 upwards. So yeah, basically that's how the do while control structure works. And last but not least, we want to move right into the for loop, which also happens to be my favorite. Right. So the for loop. Okay, let's just clear this up. For loop, and comment this out. Okay, so for loop. For loop it's actually pretty simple. Very interesting. Well, at least for me. For. So this is the structure of a for loop. You write for, and then we create the initial condition. Right? For example, we're saying int I. Here we're actually declaring a variable that we assign to 0. You can actually assign it to whatever you want to, is depending on your loop and what you want to use it for. But you know, for the purpose of this exercise, I just want to show you how it works. And then we put the continuation condition, right? Like for example, we want to repeat a statement for a certain number of times. In this case, maybe let's say we want to repeat it for like 4 times. So just say continue as long as I is less than 4. You'll notice that I said less than 4 because I started at 0 here. So it'd actually be 0 up to 3, which is 4. Or what you could do is you could probably say 1, and then you could say less than or equal to 4. So it's going to start off where I is equal to 1, and then it's going to continue for as long as I is less than or equal to 4. And you know, this is we could just call it I++. That's postfix. If you remember the previous tutorial, we were talking about prefix and postfix. Yeah, so it's every time that it iterates, it's going to come back here, and then it's going to add a 1 to I, and then it checks the condition. After having added I is equal to 1, is that value still less than 4? If it is, then it repeats the certain block of statements. So you know, let's just like throw in a block of statements here. Okay, here we go. Let's just like, yeah. Oh, we need to declare this also. Right. So that's person knowledge. So like what we want to do here is we just want to keep asking the person how many things you know for 4 times. So we, in this case, we don't really care how many things you know. We just want to ask like 4 times, and yeah, just basically for the most part just illustrate how the for loop works. So let's just run that and just take a look at how it works. How many things do you know? 34. How many things do you know? 23. How many things do you know? 45. And then this is the 4th loop. I hope you're counting. 45. And then that's the end. So what just happened? We created a variable here in our initial, and then we initialized it to a certain value. So this is the first bit of the for loop. You have to put the initial condition. So the initial, this is only like done once, where we just put I is equal to 1. And then this is the continuation condition, where the loop has to keep repeating, or is allowed to keep repeating, as long as this condition is true. Right, so now it just depends whatever condition you want to put. You know, you could even change the numbers here. You could put as long as it's less than or equal to 25 if you wanted to repeat like 25 times. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but yeah, if you just want to do that, you could still do that. It's allowed. Yeah. And then, yeah, I++, which is, every time it's finished executing the block of statements. And the block of statements is, the statements that are between these two braces, the curly braces right here. So these are the block of statements that are executed. So it keeps adding 1 every single time, and then it checks the condition. If it's true, it iterates. So basically that's what we've got on control structures. Some of the others we'll just see them as we go. Especially there's another one called the enhanced for loop, but we'll probably see that as we go after we talk about arrays and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. Yeah, just throw a statement or something. If you've got any questions, just post it, and yeah, I'll see you in the next tutorial.